Throughout this mini-series, I'll show you how to create an advanced race system for your Roblox game. This system will prompt each player to join the race. The player with the most speed will win and be rewarded. This system is brilliant for any game which involves increasing player speed, such as a speed simulator. I'll be assuming you have your own speed system before watching this video. Check out my speed simulator series if not. If you missed the last video, please check it out or you cannot complete this video. Let's get into it. Today, we'll make the race functional. First, we need to create a bindable event inside of our race system folder in replicated storage. Search bindable event, add one of them, and I'm going to rename it to start race. Duplicate this, right click duplicate, and rename the duplicated bindable event to finish race. The reason we're using bindable events is because we're going to call these on the server and then do work on the server. And because it's server to server, we need a bindable, not remote. Remote is for server to client or client to server, whereas bindable is for the same type of device, whether that be server to server or client to client. Now let's open our race module, and we need to add a new timer and a new function. So let's add an in progress timer. In progress timer equals 0. And this will create a timer. This is the time remaining of the race. So when the timer begins, let's say the race will be 2 minutes long. After 2 minutes, that timer will go, and then the race will be over. So this is the length of the race. Now below our start timer, let's add a new function. RaceModule dot, and this one will be race in progress. In here, we'll set it'll be quite similar. Let's just copy this over. And rather than setting the timer, we're going to do RaceModule.inProgress timer, and we're going to set the initial length of the timer in seconds. So I'll make the race 1 minute long, 60 seconds. And while the RaceModule.inProgress timer is greater than 0, decrease the inProgress timer. So it's very similar to the start timer function here, just for the inProgress timer. And now, when this timer gets to 0, we need to finish the race. So local finish race bindable event, or BE, equals RaceSystem wait for child finish race. Right at the top, above our race module table, we need to get our replicated storage. Local replicated storage is game get service replicated storage, and we need our race system as well. Local race system is replicated storage wait for child race system. And now we've got this race system. It doesn't give us an error anymore, and it does now exist. Now we can close that, and let's open our RaceSystem script and implement this new timer into our server-side logic. First, let's get our bindable event. So under our dismiss remote event variable, we'll get start race bindable event is equal to RaceSystem wait for child start race, and finish race BE is RaceSystem wait for child finish race. And below our not decided table, we're going to create a new table named finished players. And this will be an empty table, and this will represent a table of players that have finished the race. Now below our spawn GUI, we need to create a destroy GUI function. So function destroy GUI, and in here we're going to need a parameter remove all, and this will be a Boolean variable. So let me briefly explain what this is going to do. If remove all is true, we're going to remove every single player's GUI race prompt. So you know the race prompt that we've made, we're going to remove it from every single player that has one if remove all is true. If remove all is false, we're just going to remove it from the players that haven't joined the race. So this is basically a way of removing the prompt, the race prompt, from all the players that don't decide. And you'll see why our not decided table comes into play now. Because if they don't click dismiss or join, when the 30 seconds runs out for them to join the race, their GUI is still going to be there, but the race will be started. So we want to remove that from all the players that haven't yet decided. That's why we've got this remove all. So if that's true, we'll just remove it from everyone, which we'll do at the end of a race, for example. But if it's false, we're going to remove it from just the players. From just the players that haven't decided. So if remove all is false, then we need to loop through each player in the not decided table and remove their GUI. So for I, v in pairs, not decided, do, and then we need to get the index of their race GUI in the table, in the GUI clones table. So local index is table.find GUI clones, v.player, GUI dot race GUI. And now this is very specific, okay? So let's look at our race system. So V will be the player. Dot player GUI must be spelled exactly like this. Uppercase P, uppercase G, just like this. And that is because each player has a player GUI inside of them, which displays the GUI to the player. If you do not spell this correctly, it will not work. As you can see here, when we set the clone, we're setting it to the player's GUI. Same thing here, v.player GUI. The race GUI, dot race GUI, so this must be spelled exactly the same name as race GUI here. So this must match this. We then say if index then, so if the player's GUI exists within that table, we want to remove them from the not decided table. So table.remove, not decided, comma, table.find, not decided, comma, v. So this removes the player from the not decided table. Remove their GUI from the GUI clone table, GUI clones, index, and destroy the GUI. v.player GUI, .race GUI, colon, destroy. And then after this for loop, we'll loop through each clone in the GUI clones for I, v in pairs, GUI clones, do, v dot, and this one's very specific again. So now we're looking, v is the race GUI, dot background, open up the background, dot header, dot text. So we want to change the text of the header because that is essentially our race starting in text. So when the race begins, we want to change it from race starting in to race ending in. So we can just set that to race ending in, and then we'll also manage the timer shortly as well. Okay, and now let's go backspace it a bit and get an else statement in. So if remove all and then else. So here we'll just remove every player's GUI. We're only going to do this when the race is finished, because once the race is done, we don't want to show the GUI to anyone anymore. So loop through each clone in the GUI clones for IV in pairs GUI clones, do v colon destroy. And after this, we can just say GUI clones equals and a new empty table, just to completely reset the table. And that's this done. A lot of tables, a bit confusing, but as long as it looks like this, it's going to be good. Now in our update GUI timer, we need to make some changes. Let's add a parameter, race in progress, and this will be another boolean. If it's false, then we're going to do this here, update the timer text. So if race in progress is false, then get all this, copy it, paste it in here, and we can delete that. So we just put it into here. Otherwise, so else, copy this again, paste it in, but the difference is this time, rather than module.timer, we're going to do module.inProgressTimer for both of these, in progress timer. And this must be spelled exactly how you spelled it in the race module. So here I've got lowercase I, capital P, capital T. And here I've got lowercase I, capital P, capital T. Otherwise it will not work. Now we need to add our start race and finish race bindable events. So start, just after our dismiss remote event, we'll get start race BE dot event, colon connect, function. And first thing we're going to do, when we start the race, we want to remove the GUI from each player that's not in the race. So how do we do that? Well, we know it's going to be our destroy GUI. And if we don't want to remove it from every player, but just the players that didn't join the race, didn't decide, we're going to pass in false. Because if we look back, remove all, if it's false, we're just going to remove it from the players that haven't decided. After that, we can say local race in progress equals, this will be equal to coroutine.create our module.raceInProgress function. So this will create a coroutine to call the race in progress function while still running this script simultaneously. And then coroutine.resume race in progress. And this will start the coroutine. So this will start our race in progress for the race. So the race timer will start counting down, not the timer till the race, but the actual race timer. And then we need to get the wall. If you remember, we created this under our map. We created a part named wall, which stops the players from walking beyond the start line. So we'll get local wall equals race map, colon wait for child, wall. And then wall.canCollide equals false. And this will allow the players to walk through the wall. Now let's create our finish race. So finish race BE dot event :connect function. First of all, we want to destroy the GUI for every player now, because once the race has been finished, we're going to destroy it for everyone. So destroy GUI true, and we need to put the race back in server storage. RaceMap.parent equals server storage dot race. Now we are getting there. I know this is a lot of code. This video is a lot of code. We now need to create a function that is called when the player hits the finish area. If you remember, we also made this finish area. So it basically covers all the area that if a player touches, it'll be classed as finishing the race. So we'll say RaceMap.finish area .touched :connect function hit. So this is called every time the finish area is touched, and hit is the part that touched it. So we need to check if the hit has a parent. If hit.parent then. So let's say the player's right leg touched the finish area. The parent of that will be the player's character, and that's what we're interested in. So local player is players :get player from character hit.parent. If player then. So if the player exists, then we need to look for the player in the finished players table. If table.find finished players, player, then return. Don't do anything if the player has already finished, basically. If the player's already finished the race, we don't want to add them to the finished players again. This could happen because there could be a slight, it might take, say, half a second to teleport the player, so then maybe this function gets called 10 times while they're in that area. So we don't want to add them to the table 10 times. It's just sort of think of it as a debounce. And below this, we can add them to the finished players table if they're not already in it. So table.insert finished players, adding in the player. And then we need to teleport the player back to the main area. So if player.character, then we don't really need to do this because we've checked it up there. But if they died at the exact instance that we run this code, then it wouldn't work if we don't add this check. So it's just a little extra safety precaution. If player.character then, local HRP, which stands for humanoid root part, is player.character :find first child humanoid root part, spelled exactly like this, uppercase H, uppercase R, uppercase P. If HRP then, so the reason we do HRP is because the humanoid root part is the center of each player's character. If you teleport the humanoid root part, the entire player will teleport. So the humanoid root part is always the part you want to move around. Now we need to get all the spawns in our game. So these are the spawns that the player will get teleported back to after the race. So in my workspace here, I have an island 1. In here, I've got a spawns group, which has loads of spawn locations. Obviously, everyone's spawns are going to be under different names, but mine are under workspace, island 1, spawns. So I can say local spawns equals workspace dot island 1 dot spawns : get children. And this will get all the spawns. Now I can choose a random spawn. Local index is math.random between 1, the number of spawns, so hashtag spawns, and this will choose a number between 1 and the number of spawns. Then we can teleport the humanoid root part to that spawn. HRP.cFrame equals spawns index.cFrame plus vector3.new 0 to 0. Very similar to our teleporting to the map spawns, the race map spawns. If you only have one spawn in your main game, you wouldn't do this math.random, you just teleport them to that spawn, and obviously change this to the location of your spawn. Don't just do this, because that will probably be wrong, unless you have the same layout as me. Now we need to go into our while wait 1 do. So now in our update GUI timer, we need to change this to false, because if you remember, we added a race in progress parameter here, and so we need to pass in true or false. So make sure you add false here. And then we'll add an else to the if timer is greater than 0. If we're not counting down the module timer, we're going to be counting down the race timer. So we can say update GUI timer true. And that's it. Now let's test it. So let's close this up, test and play. I'm only going to test it with one person because we don't need to test it on a local server now. Just wait for the pop-up. It will take 10 seconds. There we go. I'm going to hit join. We get teleported over. And then when this timer runs out, I should start running. I should be able to go through this wall, reach the end, and when I touch the end, I'll be teleported back to our main area. And then once the race completely finishes, I should be able, the GUI should just completely disappear. Let's give it a go. Here we go. So 3, 2, 1 now. So let's go. So the wall, so it's not worked. So something isn't working correctly. Let's have a look at what that could be. Okay, so the reason for this is because I didn't actually finish with the race module. I'm not sure why. I just completely did not finish with the race module script. So let's fix this up. So after we've got the finish race bindable event, we'll just say finish race bindable event : fire. And at the top, in our start timer function, we need to begin the race. So local start race BE equals RaceSystem : wait for child start race. And start race BE : fire. Now if we test it again, it should work. So I hit join, get teleported, and I wait for this timer to run out, and hopefully I'll be able to run through this wall this time. Right, 3, 2, 1, and okay, now we go. So now it says race ending in. We've got the 60-second countdown. If I get to the finish area, it teleports me back, and I'll wait for this race ending to finish, and hopefully it should just disappear. Here we go. So 3, 2, 1. You can see our map disappears back into server storage, and our GUI has disappeared as well. It's all working perfectly, so that's great. And that's it. So over the next couple of videos, we're going to cover a game loop which constantly spawns new races after the previous with an intermission, a winner GUI and reward system to reward the top 3 winners, and we'll make multiple race maps with a system to randomly select a map each time a race begins. But that is it for this video. The next video will be out in 4 days after this one, so make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. Please consider joining our Discord server, the link is in the description, where we are trying to build a community of future developers. You can ask for programming help, help others, or just chat there too. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.